Hello everyone, my name is Ronak and you're watching Vector Art. So today we'll be talking about data binding. So data binding is a mechanism in WPF application that provides a simple and easy way for Windows Runtime apps to display and interact with data. Data binding allows the flow of data between UI elements and data objects on a user interface. When a binding is established and the data on your business model changes, it reflects the and updates automatically the UI elements and vice versa. It is possible to bind not to a standard data source but another elements on the page. So data binding is of two types, one-way data binding and two-way data binding. So let's start first with one-way data binding. So in one-way data binding, data is bound from its source, that is the object that holds the data, to its target, that is the object that displays the data. Let's take this simple example to understand one-way data binding in detail. So I have created this WPF project with the name data binding, and here is the XAML code that creates a label which consists of two labels and two text boxes and a button, and initialize them with some properties. So here is the XAML code. The text properties of both the text boxes bind to the name and age, which are class variables of person class. Here you can see them in the code behind. So this is the name and age property. In the person class, we have just two variables, name and age, and it is initialized in the main window class. In XAML code, we are binding the property name and age, but we have not selected what object that property belongs to. The easier way is to assign an object to the data context whose property we are binding. And here in the code behind, we are binding that person object to the data context. And now let's go ahead and run this application, and you can see immediately in our main window that we have successfully bound to the name and age of the person object. So here you can see we have the name and age bound to our text box, and this value comes from the value that is here. So when you press the show button, it will display the name and age on the message box. Let's now change the name and age in the dialog box. So let's make this as 32, and let's make this to John. And now when I click on this show button, if you will see that it displays the same message. This is because the data binding mode is set to one way. So if we go back to our previous screen, so the data binding is just one way. And to show the updated data, you will need to understand the two-way binding. So let's take a look at two-way binding. So in two-way binding, the user can modify the data through the user interface and have the data updated in the source. If the source changes while the user is looking at the view, you want the view to be updated. Let's take this example, or let's take the same example, but we will make some small changes. So let's stop this application first, and let's go back to our designer, and here let's change this mode to two-way. Okay, so now let's run this application again. It will produce the same output that it did before. So let's click, and now, but when we change the name and age property or the value here in the text box, If you click the show button now, it will display the updated message. So this is how the one-way and two-way data binding works in WPF. Hope you liked watching this video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, like, share, and do subscribe to my channel, for it motivates me to create more such videos. So till then, bye bye.